All right. So we are live. Miss you guys. Have been a little bit since I came on here live and talked. Obviously, if you do not follow me on social media, maybe you don't know this, but my wife, she just had our baby last Wednesday, and I'm recording this on a Thursday, actually. She's 8 days old. Her name's Isla. Just amazing. We're so grateful. We didn't know if it was a boy or girl before she came into this world, or I guess until we got to meet her. And we were both really pulling for a girl because we have Aiden, and we really wanted one of each at least. So we were just so thankful and honestly shocked. Like we really thought it was a boy, and there was like a point in the ultrasound, and one of the ultrasounds where I kind of took a peek, and I swear I thought I saw what you would see with a boy, and I was totally wrong. Yeah, we had a beautiful baby girl, and so we've been getting adjusted to having a newborn again. And obviously Aiden's been getting adjusted to now having a little sister now, which is really cool to see. But this whole situation has uh it made me think about how this is really similar to a lot of your guys's or gals' fitness journeys and weight loss journeys too. Because now, my wife and obviously we were expecting it, right? But we've been thrown into this new environment or new situation for us where now we have two kids instead of one. And now we have a newborn along with a toddler. And now we have a newborn again where we're, waking up every 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the night to change her, to feed her, put her back to sleep. And, obviously she needs to eat every 2 to 3 hours when she's awake too, or during the day like daylight hours. And navigating that while also having to navigate taking our son to daycare, while also getting her like taken care of and all that. Just having another body in the home to take care of with it being a newborn, obviously. And this these past 8 days, right, with it being such a big change to our routine, our schedule, well, how we normally do things, like it has felt unsustainable, and it has felt a little bit stressful at times. And thankfully, like we have the best clients here, and my one-on-one clients have been so understanding of like me taking a week to maybe take a break from structured one-on-one check-ins, and a little bit slower to respond to messages and texts and stuff. But it's been stressful worrying about, or not, I wouldn't even say stressful, but just it's been different, right? Waking up at different hours because you're waking up in the middle of the night, so you sleep in a little bit later and you get out of your routine, and then you're like, oh, like when am I gonna get my workout in, or when am I gonna do this, or when am I gonna take Aiden to daycare when normally I would do at this time. But this is what the situation is now. And like I was saying, it's felt a little bit unsustainable, which makes sense because it's new. And anything that's new is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unsustainable. And I was talking to all of our clients this week, sent a video to all of them about this specific kind of like topic, I guess, which is like when you start doing something new, something different than what you've done before, it is going to feel a little unsustainable at first and a little uncomfortable, and that is normal. So whether it is you starting to keep track of your nutrition and track your food, use a food scale, whether it's maybe you're used to tracking your food and using a food scale, but now you're aiming for a different level of calories than what you were before, like that's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Or maybe you're aiming for a higher protein goal now, or maybe on the workout side of things, maybe you're starting to actually work out consistently when you've been pretty sedentary leading up to this point. Or maybe you're paying attention to your step goal and going on walks more often, and you're used to maybe sleeping in until 6 a.m. and then waking up and going straight to work and going through the Starbucks drive-through for your breakfast, and now you're waking up at 5 so you can get a 30-minute walk in before you leave. Or maybe you're waking up a little bit earlier so you have time to prep your breakfast and lunch a little bit so you don't have to eat out for lunch at fast food. Like, you're starting this journey, you're starting this goal that you have of wanting to get in better shape or lose weight, if that's part of what you're trying to do. And you're trying to basically change the external result for yourself, whether it's your body weight, your body fat level, your body composition, or your health. You're trying to like change some kind of external result that you currently have. by changing your daily actions. And when you change your daily actions, your routine changes a little bit. The things you have to mentally focus on and prioritize change a little bit. And your overall, like, I guess just equilibrium or your balance of your life changes a little bit to where now you're paying attention to things that you previously didn't have to pay attention to. And it's taking up more mental bandwidth, and that is going to feel unsustainable a little bit. Now, obviously, there's an extreme end to where if what you're doing feels unbearable, then you probably need a new plan, right? So this isn't me saying, hey, if you're someone who's doing a 1,200 calorie diet or cutting out all carbs from your diet or cutting out entire food groups or trying to go from exercising 0 days per week to now doing 7 days per week of intense cardio, and that feels unsustainable and you feel burnt out. This is not me saying, hey, keep doing that, right? That's probably not what we want to do. But if you feel like what you're doing is a little bit outside of the realm of what actually feels comfortable and sustainable for you, I want to encourage you to just kind of sit with that a little bit and realize that that might be a sign that you're actually right where you need to be. I think a lot of times when we feel uncomfortable trying to make a change, it's really easy for us to think, oh, like this is unsustainable, so this isn't going to work with my life. But everything feels unsustainable when it's new. And I think back to, I think a really good example of this situation too is obviously kids, but also when it comes to like school too, where like in middle school, I would always hear teachers talk about, hey, you know, you're not going to be able to get away with this in high school, like turning assignments in late and things like that. And, you know, things are going to be much more strict in high school and it's going to be harder. And then, it became a little intimidating to where like, you're in eighth grade and you're finishing up eighth grade and getting ready to go into ninth grade freshman year. And you're like, man, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. And then you start it and everything feels overwhelming at first. The first few weeks of school, the first even maybe month of high school feels overwhelming. And then eventually you get the hang of it and you understand what the expectations are of like what you need to do to succeed, and you adapt and you find a way to work through it. And the same thing goes with, if you're somebody who maybe you went to college and your senior year of high school, you hear all of these teachers talking about, hey, in college, it's going to be a lot harder. You're not going to be able to get away with this and get away with that and this, and it's intimidating. And then, you go to college and have your first week of classes and orientation, all of that, and you feel overwhelmed too. And you're like, how am I going to now manage, all of these college courses that are a lot harder and the longer hours of studying? And then, you think about, then maybe you're after your first year or two of college or your first semester, you decide, hey, like I need to get a job to start paying for things too. And now you're like, how am I going to manage going to college full time while also working a job? And then, you graduate and then you think, okay, now I'm going to be working full time. How am I going to manage that? Because now I'm, spending 8 hours of my day working, where college classes were only really like a few hours a day sometimes. And, you feel overwhelmed there, but then you find a way to work through it and you adapt. And then, fast forward and you think about, getting a puppy. Now I have this responsibility to take care of this animal. And then fast forward to then, and maybe then you have kids, and now you have on top of your responsibilities taking care of your pets and your job and your career and your other relationships, now you have a baby to take care of. And that feels unsustainable at first. But you find a way, because you almost like force yourself and throw yourself into the fire or the deep end of the pool and like, okay, I have no choice but to learn how to swim. And I think a lot of times we give ourselves a pass with this journey with weight loss and, our fitness journey, where we almost jump into the pool next to like the wall, to where if we feel like we're struggling a little bit, we are just going to grab a hold of that wall and climb out of the pool immediately, which is basically what a lot of people end up doing with their fitness journeys, where they start, things feel uncomfortable, they feel a little bit unsustainable at first, and they're like, you know what, I can't do this, I need to take a break, or this isn't for me, and then they stop. Whereas if they were to just jump a little bit more in the deep end of things and really throw themselves in there, maybe don't throw yourselves into the middle of the ocean if you aren't sure if you can swim, to where there's no safety net at all. But maybe just jump into the deep end of the pool, where, the wall is a couple of feet away if you really have to swim there, but you're not directly next to it, where you're going to grab onto it for support with any little minor, struggle or inconvenience you have. Throw yourself into the deep end a little bit and force yourself to sit there a little bit longer. And you'll realize just what you're truly capable of and what you truly can adapt to and get through when you kind of tell yourself, hey, I have no choice but to find a way to make this work. And this is why like investing in a coach, especially like a longer term program, can be so valuable, because now you're like making a commitment of, okay, like I'm going to work with this coach for 6 months. This is their policy. I'm going to work with them for at least a year, whatever it is. And like when you do that and make that commitment, you're kind of throwing yourself into that deep end where like, I have no choice, but, I'm going to make this happen. And, obviously with a coach, you have, somebody there for support, to coach you along the way, help you along the way, which is invaluable. But I think too many times we feel a little bit of discomfort and we give ourselves a pass to like get out of that discomfort. And I just want to invite you to like sit in it a little bit. And you'll be surprised at just how much you can overcome and just how much you are capable of and just how much you can actually adapt, if you kind of take that mentality of like, I have no choice, right? Same thing with, this situation with, our newborn, our new baby, Isla here. Like, not that we would ever want to go back. Like, we're so grateful, but waking up in the middle of the night is not easy. Our schedule is being completely thrown off this past week. Like, that's not easy, but we aren't giving ourselves a choice to, get out of it, which we can't, which we don't want to. But like, this is our reality now, so we have to make it work and adapt and find a way to be more efficient with, taking care of Aiden too, and being more efficient with, work on my end. Like I'm gonna have to learn how to be more efficient, especially when my wife goes back to work and Isla's, here with me while I'm, working, coaching clients and all this. Like I'm gonna have to find a way to be more efficient with what I'm doing and all of this. And the whole gist of this, and I'll kind of wrap this up here, is just let yourself sit in that, uncomfortable deep end of the pool a little bit, and don't sell yourself short as far as what you're capable of adapting to, because, you'll probably surprise yourself if you give yourself basically no choice. So hopefully this was helpful. And also did just want to bring up too, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you probably saw that there's a little bit of a rebrand going on with the podcast, where now the podcast will be called Mindset and Metabolism with Joey Gass, which I think that title just really encompasses everything that I talk about in these episodes, in these videos, where I just love like diving into the science behind the metabolism of things and how fat loss works, body composition works, and then also diving into the psychological component of things, the mindset behind things. And I think jointing those two things together and mastering those two is what really unlocks long-term results, which is, what we're doing with all of our clients here. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of a wake up call and motivated you. If it did, please feel free to take a screenshot of it, share it on your Instagram or Facebook story, social media, wherever. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I will see you guys in the next one.